Okay, everybody, now we're doing a review of last night's episode of American Horror Story. And I was trying to see the title of it. Do you know the title?
Preach.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But it's not spelled like normal people spell it. It's spelled. Let's look up. What does that mean?
It's spelled with two E's. Preech is supposed to be Preach.
What does that
like
mean?
Beach, preach.
What does that mean? What does this mean? I can't even find it. Oh. There's a speak, plead, or argue in favor of. I don't understand. That's not a real word. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I guess the writers of the show forgot how to spell.
So anyway, you start off with it's 1987 in Manhattan. You have this woman with kind of like a German accent. I don't know what accent, but it's a European accent. And she is visibly pregnant. And her doctor is Dr. Hill, a younger Dr. Hill, not that much younger, I guess. Well, I guess so, yeah, 87 to 98, we consider 87 vintage in the reselling world. And anyway, she's in pain, and because she's going to have the baby, she's having labor pains. I mean, that's just when it gets worse, when it gets in near when you're going to have the baby, the pains do get really miserable. And some people have them longer than others. I just had it for a little bit in both pregnancies, which...
Yeah, Safi,
Marco.
Describe the pain that I gave you.
Well, he's talking about... We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
But anyway, this is labor pains, and that's different. And I don't want to talk about that. I don't think anybody wants to hear.
Talk about the time
similar to.
Talk about the time where you woke me up and I punished you.
Yeah, because I was an older person having a baby. I was in my early 40s. I had to be monitored more because I was considered an elderly person having a baby, if you can believe that. And and so I have to go in and get monitored, and all they do is they put a little sensor on your abdomen, and then you sit there in the chair, and they want to see what the baby does for so many minutes, and they do there's a little readout that comes out on a piece of paper. And it was so funny because next to me was a girl who looked like she was 16.
Ooh.
So the difference between, there was a curtain between us, but I saw her, and it was just weird. I'm like around 40 and she's 16.
You're checking her out?
No, I was not checking her out. God, I just couldn't. It was just weird because, I never thought about my age. Didn't care because I knew it would be okay. It doesn't matter. So anyway, about having a baby in your 40s, 2 or 3, whatever it was. Anyway, this woman said her Dr. Hill is a jackass, and if he'd said that kind of thing to me, and he's still saying stupid stuff because later in the episode, and I know Marco doesn't think anything about it.
Well, I think it's stupid, but I think it's done for an agenda, because I think it's done for the purpose of trying to show that, like, going through this is terrible, and that this is what it's like, and that everyone is tortured like this.
That's not true. That's not true. If somebody said that they get rid of him, they wouldn't have a doctor. They wouldn't even go to this person as a doctor because his bedside manner sucks.
Yeah.
And he said, now I have to cough. But, quote, "You made an agreement that cannot be reneged." That's what Dr. Hill tells her. And the agreement was, should we talk about that? This is the woman ends up being, she says, okay, this is the woman who's been, quote, stalking on the one that was at the doctor's office.
This is her when she was younger.
This is her when she's younger. And she knows Dex's, that's Anna's husband. She knows his mother. And so meets with her. I have to cough.
You guys like watching this? You like tuning in to hear this kind of quality video?
Just let me have a drink.
Well, and so this opening scene is basically one of the many agenda scenes in this episode because they make it into this like overly dramatic, horrifying scene where there's blood everywhere, and then
he wants her to push.
And then
can't do it. And these two witches show up.
And the witches come in, and the witches kind of act like nurses, and so it's almost like an agenda with that. And
they help her push out the baby, and then it's over. You don't hear anything. They take the baby. The nurse takes the baby away. You never see it again. I thought she might have a child somewhere. But no. So, anyway, now what?
Well, just a bunch of random stuff happens. It's not even worth talking about, honestly.
And
this show sucks.
The mother tries to get her son to go testify for her, and she says a bunch of stupid stuff. Maybe Marco wrote it down about this is the way you treat the woman who gave birth to you.
No, she said, and this is one of the many agenda lines, because this episode, they finally pulled off their masks to reveal the agendas.
Well,
and
also,
so the
okay,
do you want me to tell it or not?
Yeah, but okay.
Okay, so the mother says, like, men were always considered the braver sex, which I think is funny because, you know, you won't even stand up for the woman who birthed you. And it's like, oh, really?
Because she wants him to testify for her and against him, his father.
So that was the first agenda line. And, yeah. Did you like that, Safi?
No, I don't like his mother at all. I don't know.
Speak up a little bit.
I don't like his mother at all. I don't like him. Did we ever get to see the dad? Have we ever seen him?
No.
His dad? That's what I thought. And unless it was the first episode, I don't know. And it was for about 2 seconds. I don't think so, though. And I just don't like her. She's a biatch. And all that stuff she was saying to him, he doesn't believe her. And doesn't agree with her, and so why would he? And she said, "Well, if anything, you could just go and be a character witness." He's such a cold character, and you can understand why. And then she also holds it against him that, and her husband, that he got that condo for them apparently, and what else? I didn't understand the thing about his wife. How he had something to do with him being with her. She said something to that, but I didn't understand it at all. How he would have something to do with that, except maybe that he had a party and they met. I mean, I didn't get it. And then there was something else, and that he got for him. So I think something to do. Oh, I know. It was something to do with his career. He got an art gallery for him, or got him a chance to show his stuff at an art gallery. I don't know. But anyway, and she said, yeah, I know why you don't want to talk against him, because of all those things he did for you. And so then he leaves, and then anyway, we see that, the next thing is, she's having terrible pains. Now, this is what Marco was wanting me to talk about. In the side of her abdomen. And she goes to the doctor. I mean, she's having them all the time. She can hardly, the way she describes, she can hardly function. And when I was pregnant with Marco, I didn't have any pain on my abdomen. I had it in the back of one of my legs. It was like somebody was ramming a knife blade through my leg and twisting the blade. And apparently that's normal.
Yeah.
People have that. And I couldn't exercise as much. I had gestational diabetes, and so I was trying to exercise so I would not want to, because I did not want to go on insulin while I was pregnant. So I tried to do it as much as I could, exercise, like walk or go on the exercise bike, which is what I did with my other child, because I had gestational diabetes then too, and was trying to avoid being on insulin. But it was worse with Marco because I had this stabbing pain. So anyway, I didn't go to the doctor. I read about it, and it was normal. So I just dealt with it the best way I could.
And there was a really funny home video, actually, where Safi was at the quarry, like, trying to find rocks or some stupid shit. And and it was funny because Safi stops and she starts crying and she's like, "It's so painful!" And that was like one of the funniest moments of our home videos.
Oh boy. It was.
Remember that?
It hurt all the way up until I gave birth, and then it went away. 2 seconds.
There's lots of other
So
funny
did the
moments too.
Diabetes. Completely gone. Disappeared. So anyway, he calls it rib flare. Now, I haven't had a chance to look it up. I've never heard of that. And then he recommends this woman to go to do these abdomen exercises or something so it won't hurt.
That's a real thing.
I've never heard it.
That's a real thing.
Marco's looking it up.
Yeah, it took me 2 seconds to look that up.
I didn't have time. Anyway, so we hear all about that. And he chides her, and she says, "That's all you can do?" And he says, "No one ever said pregnancy was a walk in the park."
And so that was another agenda. Safi, why don't you just leave if you're gonna do that the whole video?
Well,
People don't want to hear that.
I know. It's the most insensitive thing somebody could say. I just go to a different doctor.
Well, it was just an agenda, though. It was just like trying to make a point, like everything else in this episode, that basically the agenda is that women should not have to do pregnancy because pregnancy is really hard and pregnancy is tough and, you know, it's just, you know, women never consented into that. Like, and so there's a line in this episode where I can't remember who said any of these agenda lines, but one of them said, "Women never consented into the painful world of motherhood," like, which was just really, like, ignorant and stupid.
That was either the mother or the friend of the family. Is it Monica, his friend, the artist? Or could it have been Kimmy? I don't know. It's one of those three that says that. And he tells her she can't travel for the rest of the pregnancy, meaning she can't go to the Golden Globes.
Okay, Safi, why don't you just go? I'll say it once and I'll say it again. You need to stop doing this. You need to go to the doctor and get whatever this is taken care of because people are not going to watch these videos. They've already all
just go ahead, Marco.
They've already all clicked off of this video because like no one wants to hear that. Safi, you've like ruined a lot of videos because of you doing that. And this video, you know, he tells her that she can't travel, which is pretty much like one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. It doesn't make any sense at all. It's like, what's going to happen? Is the baby going to explode if she travels? Like,
well, they don't suggest you do it if you're going to have, because you could have a miscarriage. If you're a miscarriage type of person, they will say that.
Okay. Whatever you say. And so with last episode, you guys remember the whole satire that was like basically anti-feminist. Well, this whole episode was like that satire video, but taken seriously. Like they turned the satire video into a full-length episode where they're unironically saying like women should not get pregnant and have children because it's really bad and painful. And it's really hard. So that's this episode. And there's lots of other crap that happens, but it's not even worth talking about. I mean, this is not American Horror Story at all. Ryan Murphy giving his show to these deranged feminazis so that they could do this season was a terrible idea. You know, he just doesn't. You know, he just doesn't care, though. He just does not care about this show anymore. And I think that, you know, there's lots of work that needs to be done to the show. The show needs help. But there's not even any point in giving the show help, because it's like, from this season, it's like Ryan Murphy doesn't even care. And it's his show. So, like, unless this show is, like, given to someone else who actually cares, I have no hope for the show anymore, because it just seems like, what's going to happen next? Like, he doesn't have the pandemic anymore as an excuse.
Yeah.
You know, so, like, what's going to be the next season's excuse? Like, is he going to give it to M. Night Shyamalan to fuck that up, too? Like, or is he going to give it to Tommy Wiseau to do a season? Like, what's he going to do next season to make a shitty season? Because, like, it wasn't just season 10 that was trash. It was season 10, last season, and this season. And, like, what's the next thing going to be?
I don't know. I wish they'd get back to actual horror. So.
Really?
Well, we should at least talk about the end.
Well, let's talk about other things that happen, like the fat guy is with Kim Kardashian.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, I just can't stand looking at Kim Kardashian or even listening to her anymore, because she's so ugly. And her lips are just disgusting to look at. It's like looking at a monstrous fish at PetSmart.
And
it's like
Botox.
It's just so cringeworthy, because she can hardly talk because her lips are so unnaturally inflated. It's just cringe. It's like, I don't even want to look at that anymore. Like, she's not even, she's terrible to look at, and she's terrible to listen to, too. She's like nails on a chalkboard, gross.
Well, they're having dinner, and his name is Hamish, and apparently he's a director. And he asked about this. She won't talk to him. She's just looking at her phone and tapping on it, and he takes it away from her. And he says, "What the hell's going on here? A year ago, I get this script for this movie, and everybody says it's not going to work because Emma is in it. Nobody knows who she is. It's not going to do any good." And now it has 11 Golden Globe nominations. And what is the deal with that?
So he's basically questioning why it did good, which is pretty hilarious. Because I'll tell you right now, any director in the history of film, if their film does good, they're not going to be questioning it at all. They're just going to be happy about it, and they're going to be like, yay! They're not going to be sitting there like, what is up with this? Kim Kardashian? Something bad must have happened for this to have done well, because apparently I'm not a very good director. And I'm just not capable of making a good movie without something suspicious happening.
And he doesn't know who wrote it and where she got it. And he's having a fit about it, and he wants her to explain it.
She pulled it out of her you-know-what.
Well, I don't know, but it's not explained. They don't show it.
She birthed the script.
Yeah, really.
And so, also, there's a whole Believe Women scene where Emma's talking to her ugly-ass boyfriend who's just terrible.
It's her husband.
Husband character. He's terrible. I hate him. I hate his stupid face. I can't stand to look at him either.
Well,
I'm
unhappy because he was not like this in other roles, so...
I hate him. And she's like, you won't believe me. You just won't believe me at all.
And he confirms it.
You won't believe me about anything I say. And it's just, you know, and so that was like a Believe Women agenda scene. And I know that I'm being harsh about it, but it's just that I can, you know, because I am a writer who's better than these writers. I can see like what they're doing here. Like I can see like the mechanics and the inner, like, skeleton of what they're doing, I can see, like, all the little, like, tricks that they're playing so that they can fulfill their little agendas and send the messages that they want to send. And I'm telling you that, like, this whole episode was just full of, like, messaging. Safi? What are you doing? It's like you're doing some weird, like, pose.
I'm listening to you.
Do an impression of Kim Kardashian.
Hello guys, I'm Kim Kardashian, and I can barely talk anymore because my lips are so inflated, and I'm Kim Kardashian.
Is that what she sounds like?
Why she feels like she needs to do that is beyond my comprehension.
I want to look like a fish. Looking like a fish is trendy, and it's going to look good on TikTok.
I don't know.
Emma Roberts looks a lot better, and she's literally, like, the only reason that I'm even tolerating this show, because, like, she's the only good thing about it anymore.
Well, there's a woman who's, I guess, the artist, Monica, who comes over.
No, that's Sonia.
Sonia?
Yeah, the British woman.
Yeah.
The creepy British woman.
And I don't get this photograph. There's a photograph in Emma's drawer. I mentioned it before a while back. It's like in the knife or the silverware drawer. And I think it's supposed to have Dex's ex-wife. But did we talk about those women talking in the restaurant and what they said?
Oh no, well the witch woman, she talks to the mother-in-law, and
they know each other.
She reveals the whole, like, story behind the show is revenge of the witches. They are mad that the stupid boyfriend defected the last wife, and he defected her, and so they're mad about that.
She was an important player to what they do.
They're getting revenge.
They're getting revenge.
So that's the story.
Stalking Emma and her husband. So yes, there is something going on, and the mother hears about it, and she tells her that she had wanted to be a designer all her life, and that during Fleet Week, which is a thing in New York, because I've heard, like with David Letterman's show, they'll say show Fleet Week, and the whole audience are people from the Navy and different branches of the service, and they're all anyway, it's called Fleet Week. And she got pregnant. She had a one-night stand, so she wanted to have an abortion. And because she always wanted to be a designer, and she'd already been picked up.
But Clarence Thomas wouldn't allow her.
Talking about. So she had two, Karl Lagerfeld, and I can't remember which the other one. I mean, it's a very famous designer, and they picked her up because she was so good. But when she got pregnant, she wanted to get rid of it. Some woman approached her and said, I can give you everything you want, but you have to do one thing. And she's going to get rid of the baby anyway. She says, what's that? And they said, we want your baby. And that was the whole thing. Remember, she saw Dr. Hill, she had the baby. They took it away because they wanted the baby. So anyway, that's her story, and then she goes on to say that her son, mainly him, because she thought she was talking about all this stuff because of her husband, the mother-in-law, her husband, the court trial, and she said, she called him an asshole. She said, I don't know anything about your husband, and she talks about her son is being stalked, and these witches are getting revenge because their protege turned on them when she married him, which is really bizarre. And so they're getting the revenge by stalking Emma and Dex, and that they were going to do something. And she said, watch out. And so now we go to whatever her name is, the British artist. And there's some kind of photograph, and apparently in the photograph, it looks like, I can't tell the photograph. I've seen it 5 times. Apparently one of the girls in there has a different hair color, but it looks like her, this artist. And she asked her about it. She says, I don't know. She does look an awful lot like me, because she shows her. Emma shows her the photograph.
Safi, on a scale of 1 to 10, what did you think of this British woman? Like, did you like her?
No.
Why not?
So, well, she goes on about, she talks about being beaten up by her mother every day. And she said she suffered and she left and she went to Berlin. So she's German, well, or she's British, but for some reason she goes to Berlin. And then she said, I became an artist and I was able to develop my art, and it was because of all the pain I had to endure. It helped me with my art. And so she had brought a housewarming gift. Was that her gift?
I can't remember. I didn't fucking care.
Anything. Yeah, it was.
This whole episode, I was just like, God, I stayed up for this.
It was just bizarre thing, one right after the other. And then you see, she leaves, and then you see another thing is, Kim calls Emma on the phone and says, you know, do you want this Oscar? Is it what did she say exactly?
I need to repeat that line again.
Well, repeat it for the
Well, let's go through the agendas first, because there was another agenda part where she goes to some alternative practitioner and she fingers her until she's like really uncomfortable, and she's like, "Stop it!" And she's like, "I've almost released the pressure. I've got to keep on doing it." And Emma's like, "Stop it! No, stop it! Ah!" And it's just like the weirdest scene. It's like this is like straight out of a cartoon too. Like what is going on here? Like, what is this?
I know. Well, I was like, what is it? I don't know what the hell that was going on. I thought you said that was a real thing.
Well, no, it just feels like some real like California type thing that they would make up. Like, you know, maybe if a woman fingers you and massages you on the inside, then you will feel good.
Yeah, well, she won't have the pain anymore.
Which is
and he suggested her too, the doctor. So I thought that was disgusting. And she didn't like it. She didn't want it. And then she told her husband that she had molested her. That woman had molested her because she told her to stop and she wouldn't stop.
Which, honestly, like with a lot of these treatments, I don't know. Like, it's just, I don't even care.
Well, I don't know if this kind of thing happens. It's news to me.
I don't know.
I'd never heard of rib flare, so. So,
Oh, and then there's another line. There's a line where someone's like, women never used to get treated for bipolar. They had to scream at the wall.
Which, it wouldn't have mattered if it was a woman. It was either one.
Yeah, it was either men or women. It wasn't just women that weren't treated for bipolar. So that was another strange thing.
They had all kinds of people locked up in these old asylums, men and women, for stuff like that. For a lot of bullshit stuff. There was
another agenda where they said that like all women scientists were all considered mad, or they were all called mad
scientists.
No, they were just all called mad apparently because they
don't want to be a wife and a mother. They want to do something with their brain.
Because men don't want women to be in powerful positions. Like, just, a bunch of bullshit stuff that, you're
Who
just
said
like...
that anyway?
I don't know. I can't remember. It was just...
God.
It was all bad. Like, I couldn't stand this episode. I was like, okay, we've finally gotten to the point of total agenda domination. And I do not like this show anymore. It's not American Horror Story. It's not good. I'm just really not. The only reason I'm watching it is because I have to review it for the channel. If I didn't have to review it for the channel, I would not be watching this at all.
Well, so anyway, we'll get to the point.
Would you? If you didn't have to review this? Yeah.
Probably not.
Because you're reading the book, too, and you say the book sucks, too.
Well, the book is really boring. I'm on the 6th chapter, and there's only one hint of supernaturality, and anybody could say it, and it wouldn't be supernatural. And she said, and the girl who plays Kim is older than her, and she has cancer, and she's not her publicist. And she says something like, I'd make a deal with the devil if I would sell my soul if I could have a baby, or something like that. That is the only thing that's been in there, except somebody's been stalking her, but that could happen to any actress or actor. It happens all the time, getting stalked by some weirdo. So, I mean, that's why she's, doesn't think anything about it, except that it could happen to anybody and who's in the public eye all the time. So anyway, they got the Golden Globes on. She finds out that younger actress who's in the same movie gets the award, and she doesn't. So she goes to sleep, and before she goes to sleep, Kim calls her and says, "Do you want an Oscar as much as a baby?" And
which, when she said that, Safi cringed visibly.
And
she cringed, right, Safi? Did you cringe?
And Emma says, "Yes." And so she said, "Okay, I'll talk to you in the morning." So guess what happens overnight? The other actress gets killed in a car wreck.
Yeah, after she won the Golden Globe over Emma.
After she won the Golden Globe. So, what does this sound like? That does sound like Rosemary's Baby in a way, because the husband of whatever her name is with the haircut. He's an actor, and he is playing. He's in the shadows, and the real actor, the main actor playing the part, gets some kind of sickness where he can't play it, and so
a throat sickness.
What?
A throat sickness.
A throat sickness, so he can't talk, and so the husband gets the part. That's what it reminds me of. Nobody got killed; he just got sick. So. So anyway, that's what happens.
And it was all because they were in competition. So I guess like Kim Kardashian decided on the spur of the moment that she should kill that woman. And
that woman was her client, too.
Yeah.
It wasn't just some woman who has another publicist. It was her client, too.
Yeah. So that's the end of the episode. And, you guys could probably just sense like how little that I care about this, because it's just so stupid and just not worth it. I would give this episode an F-. I'm just so not into the show anymore. It feels like, and again, because there's a lot of people who would be like, well, the show has overstayed its welcome, and it shouldn't have gone on for more than one season, or some stupid shit.
All different. These seasons are all different.
But the real thing that I have to say is that, like, the show should still go on, but, like, the writers are just terrible. Like, they really need to figure their shit out and, like, go back to making a good show, because this is not American Horror Story. Like, I don't understand. Like, this show was so trendy, and it had such it had such great ideas, and it had such a great start with, like, even teenagers were watching it and talking about it at school. It was very similar to, like, The Walking Dead and how popular it was. But now it's just like, what does it become? Like, because they're just so bad at writing, and they just don't want to put the work into telling a good story.
Yeah, well, I and you don't know what's true. This thing with the artificial insemination, or no, wait, it's the implant thing. ABS or whatever. I mean, I don't know if everything they're saying is bullshit or not. These progesterone implants and all this crap. I don't know if that's real. And
I don't know either.
And I don't know if people really. You think about people watching these kind of things. I don't think they care about that.
No.
And I don't know. I don't understand this book that I'm reading. It's really boring. And way they show these witches, that's how video is different. It shows things that you can't see. It's hard, you can describe in a book, but seeing it is another story. But they don't even mention any witches yet by the 6th chapter. And of course, goes faster. It's shorter, the book is could be 30 to 40 chapters. I'm only on the 6th.
Ooh.
And,
yeah, Safi started going into the plot of the book, and I almost fell asleep because it just sounded so bad.
It's boring, and it's just totally unlike this. Anyway, did we already grade it?
I gave it an F. What do you give it? Give it whatever you want. I don't care. Because
I'll give it a D. But that's being generous.
Yeah, I just can't give it anything higher than an F because I just didn't care this whole episode.
I like Emma. I've never liked her.
I like her a lot.
She usually plays a mean girl and a bitch to everybody.
Well, she didn't do that in season 4. She
doesn't do this in this episode at all.
I preferred how she was in Freak Show. I like that character more. But she's the best part of the show. If she wasn't in this season, it would have just been a total, train wreck. A total F-. Fuck you.
And I don't like, I don't like Carrie's role as Dex. His name is Carrie, I think. And, maybe he was Carrie in The Good Wife, but whatever. I don't like his role.
I don't either.
Compared to that role, it's like a 90-degree turnaround. It's terrible. And I don't like Kim Kardashian, except I know she's just playing herself. And who's better to play Kim Kardashian than Kim Kardashian? They couldn't have gotten a better bitch to play her role. She's perfect for it.
Well, I just can't stand to look at her or listen to her, so it's hard to even watch.
But it's funny, they never really show her rear end. Because I know Marco doesn't know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do, Safi.
And they always talk about that. Always. They used to, anyway.
Well, and
she has it insured.
It's very telling that there's been none of that in this season because it just proves how less of an actress she is than Lady Gaga, who
did an excellent job.
She came onto the show, and her first scene, she already cemented herself as a horror icon. Yeah. And in her 10-minute foursome bloody 4-way scene, and she was the best thing ever in that show.
Yeah, she was really good.
And what did Kim Kardashian come on and do? She didn't do shit in comparison to this. She never did any of that kind of stuff.
She couldn't.
What are you talking about?
She couldn't because she's not capable.
Safi, the whole reason that she got famous was she had a stupid sex tape released. So she probably could have done that in the show.
I see what you're saying.
Well, she didn't do anything like that. It's just she's got no ability to put herself out there as a real actor, trying to make herself uncomfortable.
She just plays herself.
She's just doing what's natural to her, which is being her.
Which, I guess that's fine because nobody else could be like that. Nobody could play her.
Well, nobody would want to. Nobody. Would you want to be her? No.
So anyway, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and become one of our subscribers and give us your feedback on this show. I'd be curious. I just don't see, if you think about who watches horror, a lot of men watch horror, boys, and I just don't see them getting into this show. Because, I've had 2 children and I can relate more to certain things about it. But as far as men are concerned, I just hate to say that, but there's nothing. Dr. Hill is an a-hole, which somebody said in the show about somebody else, about the husband, Dex's father. That woman said that about him. I wouldn't have him for a doctor for a million years. I don't know why she doesn't have a woman. I didn't want any man. But Marco's probably freaking out.
No, because that type of thing is fine because
But he's a jerk. I mean, he said that to her. No one ever said pregnancy was a walk in the park. So what? So that doesn't mean she can't feel in pain? It's just some people tolerate pain or put up with it more than others.
Well, and then he also compared her complaining to his son or daughter didn't get into this one college, and he compared it to Hiroshima.
Oh, yeah. That was queer.
It's Hiroshima,
He's a good actor. We've seen him in, well, I haven't watched all the seasons. I don't think Marco has either.
We will, though.
Every season that we have watched, I think he's been in it. And he's a character actor.
He's the best actor in the show because every season he's just able to be a totally different character.
Yeah, that is a talent. Because there aren't a lot of people who play good character actors anymore. Because they just don't have the roles for them. They should, because they add to the story.
Yeah, they would prefer people to just be generic stereotypes like Blumhouse likes to do with their horror movies.
Whatever. So, anyway, which one was the last episode until...
This one.
Okay, so we won't be talking about this anymore for a while because...
Yay!
They're going. Goodbye. So, it's Chucky where there's one more episode, but this series, there's no more episodes for a while. So, I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know if they've already made the episodes.
I don't know either.
If they could, I don't know what they're going to do because the book it's better than the book, if you can believe that. And I just don't see very many men interested, or boys, in watching this. And Dex is such a weak character, I don't think they appreciate him at all. So.
No. Well, that's also a big problem with, media nowadays, is that men have become very weak in all these movies and shows. You don't have any really strong male characters anymore.
Okay, goodbye, everybody.
Bye.